But the biggest thing I've had to adjust to is, of course, the level of players. Every match is.
What if the biggest threat isn't the top? And what if, right now, one of the most dangerous players in the draw is someone the world is still underestimating? Because hidden inside the chaos of the 2026 clay season opener is a storyline that could flip everything upside down. And at the center of it, a rising star quietly preparing to challenge a proven indoor powerhouse. This is the story of how Alexandra Eala could shock the tennis world by taking down Ekaterina Alexandrova at the Upper Austria Ladies Linz. Every tennis season has that one tournament that sets the tone. Not the loudest, not the most glamorous, but the one where something shifts. In 2026, that tournament is Linz, played from April 6th to April 12th in Austria. This WTA 500 event is doing something it has never done before, switching from indoor hard courts to indoor clay. And that changes everything. Because indoor clay is unpredictable. It slows the game down, but not too much. It rewards consistency, but still punishes hesitation. And most importantly, it exposes players who rely too heavily on rhythm. Which brings us directly to the defending champion. If there's one thing Ekaterina Alexandrova has built her reputation on, it's dominance indoors. She doesn't just win matches, she takes control of them. Her aggressive baseline game, flat hitting, and ability to dictate pace have made her one of the most dangerous players on the WTA Tour. And Linz, it's been her playground. She enters this tournament as the defending champion, the top seed, and arguably the most proven player in the draw. Even analysts have pointed it out. Alexandrova has practically made a career out of collecting indoor titles. And, historically, that matters. Because Linz has crowned legends before. From icons like Maria Sharapova to Justine Henin, this tournament has always rewarded players who can impose themselves under controlled conditions. And Alexandrova fits that mold perfectly. But here's where things get interesting.
Despite Alexandrova's dominance, this year's Linz Open is different. There are no top 10 players in the draw. Several big names are either competing elsewhere, recovering from fatigue after the Sunshine Double, or simply skipping this week to prepare for Stuttgart. That leaves a field that is unusually open. Yes, there are strong contenders. Jelena Ostapenko, a former Grand Slam champion, Emma Navarro, consistent and rising, Ludmila Samsonova, powerful but inconsistent, Clara Tauson, dangerous but struggling for form. But none of them come in with overwhelming momentum. In fact, many are searching for it, which creates a rare situation in professional tennis, a tournament where belief could matter more than ranking. And that's exactly where Alexandra Eala enters the picture. The underdog nobody wants to face. At first glance, Alexandra Eala might not seem like the obvious threat. She's not the top seed, she's not the defending champion, and she's not the most experienced player in the draw. But that's precisely why she's dangerous. Because Eala is coming in with something most of the field doesn't have: momentum and hunger. At just 20 years old, she has already shown flashes of brilliance. Her rise through the rankings hasn't been accidental. It's been built on strong court intelligence, a heavy topspin game suited for clay, and a mental toughness that often surprises more established players. And here's the key detail most people are overlooking. This surface change, it might actually favor her more than it favors Alexandrova. The surface factor nobody is talking about. Let's break this down. For years, Linz has been played on indoor hard courts, fast, predictable, perfect for flat hitters like Alexandrova. But in 2026, for the first time ever, it's indoor clay. That means longer rallies, more spin, more patience required, less reward for pure aggression. And suddenly, the equation changes, because while Alexandrova thrives on quick points and early ball striking, Eala thrives in building rallies, constructing points, wearing opponents down. And if this turns into a physical, strategic battle instead of of a fast-paced shootout, the advantage could quietly shift. Why this matchup matters more than you think. This isn't just about one match. It's about a potential turning point. For Alexandrova, it's about defending her title, protecting her ranking points, and proving her dominance isn't surface dependent. For Eala, it's about proving she belongs at this level, turning potential into a statement, and announcing herself as a real threat on the WTA Tour. And history tells us these are the exact conditions where upsets are born.
Here's something casual fans often miss. Pressure doesn't affect everyone equally. Alexandrova walks into Linz with expectations. She has to perform. Anything less than a deep run, it's a disappointment. Eala, she walks in with freedom. No one expects her to win the title. No one is putting her as the favorite. And that kind of freedom is dangerous because it allows her to take risks, play aggressively when needed, and most importantly, stay mentally loose. And in tennis, that mental edge can be everything. The stakes are higher than they look. Let's not forget what's on the line here. This isn't just another tournament. The Upper Austria Ladies Linz offers over $186,000 for the winner, valuable WTA ranking points, and momentum heading into the European clay swing, with bigger tournaments like Stuttgart right around the corner. This is the perfect launchpad. A deep run here can change a player's entire season, and both Alexandrova and Eala know it. Now here's the real question. Will they even meet? The draw hasn't fully played out yet, but based on seeding and structure, a clash between Alexandrova and Eala is very possible in the later rounds. And if it happens, it won't just be a match. It will be a contrast of styles, a clash of experience versus ambition, control versus creativity, power versus patience. Because sometimes the most important matches aren't the finals. They're the ones that change perception, the ones where a rising player doesn't just compete, but proves they belong. And if Alexandra Eala manages to push Alexandrova to the limit, or even pull off the upset, this won't just be a Linz story anymore. It will become a WTA storyline. So here's the real question. Is this just another title defense for Alexandrova? Or is this the moment Alexandra Eala announces herself to the world? Because everything is perfectly set. A surface that changes the dynamics, a wide open field, a defending champion with pressure, and a rising star with nothing to lose. And when those elements come together, tennis history has a way of delivering something special. Because in the next part, we're diving deep into the actual matchup, the playing styles, the tactical battle, and the exact ways Eala could break down Alexandrova's game, point by point. If this clash happens, it won't be decided by rankings, it won't be decided by reputation, it will be decided by matchups, because on paper, Ekaterina Alexandrova is the favorite, but on clay, especially indoor clay, the game becomes less about power and more about patterns. And this is exactly where Alexandra Eala could quietly flip the script. Let's break this down in the simplest way possible. Alexandrova's identity. First strike tennis. Flat, penetrating ground strokes, early ball contact, short rallies. Eala's identity. Heavy topspin, constructed points, defensive to offensive transitions, and longer rallies. Now, normally, on fast indoor hard courts, Alexandrova dominates this kind of matchup. She takes time away. She rushes opponents. She ends points before they even begin. But on clay, everything slows down. And when the game slows down, Eala gets time. The rally factor. Here's the first key battleground. Rally length. Alexandrova does not want rallies to go beyond 4 to 5 shots. Eala, she welcomes it, because the longer the rally, the more Alexandrova has to generate her own pace. The more errors start creeping in, the more uncomfortable she becomes. And there's data to support this pattern across Alexandrova's matches historically. When forced into extended exchanges, her unforced error count rises significantly. So if Eala can do one thing consistently, stretch the rallies, she immediately increases her chances. This is where things get even more interesting. Eala's forehand carries heavy topspin. That means higher bounce, more margin, more control on clay. Alexandrova, she hits flat, which works beautifully on faster surfaces, but on clay, it becomes tricky. because flat shots sit up more if not perfectly timed, lose some penetration, and become attackable if they drop short. So what happens if Eala keeps looping heavy topspin to Alexandrova's backhand? She forces her to hit above shoulder height, adjust timing constantly, and generate pace from uncomfortable positions. That's not Alexandrova's strength. Now, let's talk about something even more important than technique: movement. Clay exposes movement like no other surface. And here's the honest truth: Alexandrova is not known for elite sliding or defensive movement on clay. She prefers stable positioning, predictable bounce, and quick point resolution. Eala, on the other hand, is far more agile, comfortable tracking balls, and willing to defend and reset points. So if this turns into a physical match, Eala gains another edge: the serve battle. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but what about the serve? That's where Alexandrova still holds a major advantage. Her serve is powerful, direct, and capable of earning free points. Eala's serve, solid but not dominant. So this becomes a crucial area.